First contact's mockery. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Earth ship Resilient, watching as the massive structures of the Galactic Alliance's central hub came into view. The station was a testament to alien engineering, a spiraling construct of crystalline towers and iridescent domes that seemed to dance with starlight. Behind her, Earth's entire interstellar fleet maintained formation. 5 ships that represented humanity's finest achievements in space technology. Ambassador, Captain Marcus Rivera's voice came through her comm. The Alliance's welcoming committee is hailing us. They're questioning if this is our entire delegation. Chen smiled slightly, having expected this reaction. Confirm that it is, Captain. Let them wonder. The Alliance's reception hangar could have fitted 50 ships the size of the Resilient. As their small fleet took their designated positions, Chen could see the gathering of alien dignitaries through the transparent walls of the diplomatic chamber. Some were pointing, others were consulting their data displays with obvious confusion. The reception itself went exactly as their cultural analysts had predicted. High Chancellor Vexthor, a towering figure with crystalline appendages and bioluminescent patterns flowing across their surface, didn't even try to hide their amusement as Chen presented Earth's credentials for Alliance membership. Fascinating. Vexthor's translator conveyed their words with perfect clarity. Your species has achieved faster than light travel with such modest resources. The Chancellor's attendants didn't bother concealing their chittering laughter. Chen maintained her diplomatic composure. We believe efficiency often counts for more than scale, Chancellor. Humanity has always preferred elegant solutions to brute force approaches. Elegant? Admiral Krastel of the Thoraxian Empire stepped forward, their segmented armor clicking with each movement. Your entire fleet wouldn't fill one of our cargo bays. The Alliance's smallest member maintains at least 100 capital ships. How do you expect to contribute to our mutual defense agreements? Through innovation, Admiral, Chen replied, activating a holographic display. The 5 Earth ships appeared in perfect detail, rotating slowly. The Resilient, the Ingenuity, the Adaptable, the Innovative, and the Determined. Each represents a different approach to space travel and combat that we believe will complement the Alliance's existing capabilities. The laughter grew louder. Admiral Krastel's mandibles clicked in what their cultural briefings identified as extreme amusement. Complement. With toys. The Thoraxian Empire's smallest battle group cold. The emergency alerts cut through the chamber before he could finish. Red warning lights pulsed as multiple holographic displays materialized, showing a massive fleet of ships dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system. Impossible. Krastel's amusement vanished. The swarm. Here. Our intelligence indicated they were months away from reaching Alliance space. The swarm, a hostile collective of biomechanical entities that had been terrorizing the galaxy's outer regions, had apparently decided to make their first strike at the Alliance's heart. Over 300 organic metal hybrid ships, each one a nightmare of biological and mechanical fusion, were advancing rapidly toward the station. The defense fleet is 2 days away, one of the Alliance officials announced, panic evident in their voice. We only have the station's defenders. And their eyes turned to Earth's 5 ships, and this time there was no laughter. Chen's comm chirped. Captain Rivera's voice was calm, professional. Ambassador, we're picking up the swarm's bioelectric signatures. They match the theoretical patterns we've been studying. Permission to demonstrate humanity's approach to space combat. Chen looked at the gathered alien dignitaries, seeing the fear in their eyes, the dawning realization that their massive fleets were too far away to help. Permission granted, Captain. Show them why Earth chose quality over quantity. The 5 Earth ships moved into formation, their seemingly simple hulls beginning to shift and change in ways that made the alien observers blink in confusion. Panels that looked like standard hull plating unfurled into arrays of sensors and weapon systems that had been completely hidden from scans, The ship's very structure seemed to flow like liquid metal, transforming into configurations that defied conventional space combat doctrine. What are we seeing? Chancellor Vexthor asked, their crystalline form flickering with confusion. Chen smiled. The future, Chancellor. Humanity learned long ago that the most effective weapon isn't the biggest or the most numerous. It's the one your enemy doesn't understand until it's too late. As the swarm approached, humanity's tiny fleet began to demonstrate exactly why Earth had chosen to build only 5 ships, and why that would be more than enough. The battle for the Alliance's heart was about to begin, and with it, a demonstration of why humanity's approach to space travel and combat would change the galaxy forever. The aliens had laughed at Earth's 5 ships, but they were about to learn that when it came to humanity, appearances were always deceiving. Few species had ever asked why humans had chosen to build only 5 ships. They were about to find out. The silent strike. The swarm's bioships filled the view screens of the Alliance diplomatic chamber, their organic metal hulls pulsing with sickly bioluminescence. 300 monstrosities against 5 human vessels. The mathematics of destruction seemed simple enough. Captain Rivera's voice carried across the command deck of the Resilient, calm and measured. All ships initiate Hydra Protocol. Ingenuity, take point. Adaptable and innovative. Prepare for resonance sync. Determined, maintain rear guard. The alien dignitaries watched in stunned silence as Earth's 5 ships began to move in ways that shouldn't have been possible. The Ingenuity's hull rippled, quantum fields bending light around it, until the ship seemed to fragment into multiple ghost images of itself. Impossible, Admiral Krastul whispered, mandibles clicking rapidly. Their mass readings. They're fluctuating. Ambassador Chen stood quietly, hands clasped behind her back. We discovered something interesting while studying quantum mechanics, she said conversationally, as if they weren't facing imminent destruction. Reality is far more flexible than most species assume. The swarm struck first, launching waves of biomechanical torpedoes that tracked their targets through both physical and psychic space. It was their favorite tactic. Overwhelming force combined with weapons that could think and adapt. But the torpedoes found nothing to hit. The 5 Earth ships had somehow divided themselves across multiple quantum states, existing in several places simultaneously. What looked like 5 ships had become a complex web of probability and possibility. Quantum ghosting, Chen explained to the bewildered aliens. Why build 300 ships when you can have 1 ship occupy 300 positions? The Ingenuity led the counterattack, its seemingly modest weapons arrays revealing their true nature. Instead of conventional energy weapons, the ship projected fields of altered spacetime that caused sections of the swarm fleet to age thousands of years in seconds. Bioship hulls crumbled to dust, their organic components withering away. The Adaptable and Innovative moved in perfect synchronization, their quantum fields interacting to create zones where the laws of physics briefly rewrote themselves. Swarm ships found their weapons firing backward, their shields protecting them from nothing while leaving them vulnerable to everything. Neural-linked quantum drives, Captain Rivera's voice carried pride as he explained to his stunned alien audience. Our ships think and move as one because their crews do the same. We learned to merge our consciousness with our vessels, making them extensions of human will. The Determined lived up to its name, its hull transforming into configurations that adapted to each swarm tactic. When the enemy launched psychic attacks, the ship generated counter-frequencies that turned their own telepathic network against them. When they tried to adapt, they found the human vessels had already changed to something new. Humanity spent centuries fighting itself, Chen said quietly as they watched the battle unfold. We learned that victory rarely goes to the largest army. It goes to those who can think differently, adapt faster, and turn their apparent weaknesses into strengths. The swarm's neat formation had dissolved into chaos. Their biological computers couldn't predict the quantum probability patterns of the human ships. Their adaptive algorithms failed against defenses that operated outside conventional physics. Their overwhelming numbers meant nothing against opponents who could exist in multiple places simultaneously. Chancellor Vexthor's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. "Your ships, they're not just vessels, are they? They're something else entirely." Chen nodded. "They're the product of every lesson humanity ever learned about survival. We built only 5 because that's all we needed. Each ship is a testament to human ingenuity, a combination of technologies that most species never thought to combine because they were too focused on building bigger fleets." The battle reached its climax as the Resilient finally revealed its own unique capability. The flagship's hull seemed to fold through dimensions that shouldn't exist, creating a cascade of quantum effects that rippled through space. Dozens of swarm ships found themselves trapped in temporal loops, fighting battles that had already ended against enemies that were everywhere and nowhere. "Signal from the swarm fleet," one of the Alliance operators announced, their voice trembling. They're retreating. Their neural network is showing signs of complete cognitive collapse." The remaining swarm ships fled into FTL, leaving behind the wreckage of their defeated companions. Where there had been 300 bioships, now there was only evidence that humanity's approach to warfare was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Admiral Krastel stepped forward, their earlier mockery replaced with something that looked very much like respect. "How many other capabilities do your ships possess, Ambassador?" Chen smiled. "Admiral, what you've seen today wasn't about our ship's capabilities. It was about humanity's greatest strength, our ability to imagine solutions that others consider impossible, and then make them work." The 5 Earth ships reformed their original formation, their hulls settling back into their deceptively simple configurations. They looked small again, unimpressive against the backdrop of space. But no one was laughing anymore. Turning point. The aftermath of the battle left the Alliance diplomatic chamber in a state of controlled chaos. Holographic displays showed the debris field where swarm ships had met their end, while analysts rushed to process data from what they'd just witnessed. Earth's 5 ships had resumed their modest appearance, giving no hint of the revolutionary technology they contained. "Impossible readings," muttered Chief Scientist Zixra, their crystalline appendages flickering with agitation as they studied the battle data. "The energy signatures, the quantum states. Your ships violated at least 6 laws of physics we thought were immutable." Ambassador Chen watched as teams of Alliance scientists pored over their readings. "Perhaps it's not that we violated the laws of physics, Chief Scientist. We simply understood them differently." The Alliance Security Council had convened an emergency session. Representatives from 30 species crowded the chamber, their attention fixed on detailed recordings of the battle. Earth's 5 ships, previously a source of amusement, were now the center of intense scrutiny. High Chancellor Vexthor's voice carried across the chamber. "The swarm has been terrorizing our outer colonies for decades. Our conventional fleets, despite their numbers, have struggled to counter their biological adaptability. Yet your 5 ships routed a force 60 times their size." "Numbers can be deceiving." Captain Rivera's hologram appeared beside Chen. "Humanity learned that lesson through countless conflicts on Earth. It's not about how many ships you have, but how effectively you use them." Admiral Krastel stepped forward, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "Your quantum ghosting technology alone could revolutionize space combat. The ability to have a single ship exist in multiple states simultaneously. Why hasn't any other species developed this?" "Because they were too focused on building bigger fleets," Chen explained. "When you have the resources to build hundreds of ships, you don't look for ways to make one ship do the work of many. Humanity had to think differently." The chamber's main display shifted to show detailed scans of the Earth ships. Their seemingly simple hulls now revealed layers of complexity that had been invisible before. Quantum field generators merged seamlessly with neural interface systems. Adaptive materials capable of reconfiguring at the molecular level worked in harmony with artificial intelligence cores that could process reality across multiple probability states. But the most important element, Chen continued, isn't the technology itself. It's the human crews who operate it. Each ship is an extension of human consciousness, guided by minds trained to think in quantum possibilities rather than linear tactics. As if to emphasize her point, alarms suddenly blared through the chamber. A second swarm fleet had been detected, larger than the first, approaching from a different vector. But this time, there was no panic among the Alliance representatives. Ambassador, Chancellor Vexthor's tone had changed completely from their first meeting. Would Earth's fleet be willing to assist in the defense of Alliance space once again? Chen smiled. That's why we came to join the Alliance, Chancellor. Not to impress you with our numbers, but to show you that there are always alternatives to conventional thinking. The 5 Earth ships moved into formation once again, but this time they had an audience that understood what they were about to witness. The Alliance's own defensive fleet had arrived as well, hundreds of massive warships taking position alongside Earth's tiny contingent. Captain Rivera, Chen activated her comm. I believe it's time to show them what happens when human innovation combines with Alliance firepower. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for generations to come. Earth's 5 ships didn't fight alone this time. They served as force multipliers, their quantum field technology extending to enhance the Alliance vessels. Conventional warships found themselves able to exist in multiple states, their traditional weapons augmented by human quantum engineering. The swarm encountered something they had never faced before, an enemy that combined overwhelming force with impossible tactical flexibility. Alliance capital ships, guided by human quantum calculations, performed maneuvers that should have torn them apart. Their weapon systems, synchronized with Earth's probability field generators, struck targets across multiple dimensions simultaneously. This, Chen declared as they watched the battle unfold, is why Earth sought to join the Alliance. Not because we needed your protection, but because we saw the potential in combining our different approaches to space combat. The second swarm fleet didn't retreat. It was systematically taken apart by an Alliance armada that had learned to think beyond conventional warfare in the space of a single day. The few swarm ships that survived sent a clear message to their hive mind. The galaxy had changed. When the battle ended, Admiral Krastal approached Chen with a formal bow, a gesture of deep respect in Thoraxian culture. We laughed at your 5 ships, they admitted. We couldn't see that you had brought us something far more valuable than numbers. You brought us a new way of thinking. The Alliance would never view Earth's contribution the same way again. They had learned that true strength wasn't about the size of your fleet. It was about the innovation, adaptability, and imagination you brought to the battlefield. And humanity, it seemed, had those qualities in abundance. The adaptive edge. The days following the dual victories over the swarm transformed the Alliance's central hub into a hive of activity. Earth's 5 ships had become the center of an unprecedented collaboration between species. Engineers and scientists from 30 different civilizations worked alongside human crews, learning to merge their conventional technologies with Earth's quantum innovations. The neural interface is the key, Lieutenant Sarah Wong explained to a group of Alliance engineers aboard the Ingenuity. Her hands danced through the holographic controls, demonstrating how human consciousness merged with the ship's systems. Our ships don't just respond to commands, they respond to intention. The Thoraxian engineers chittered in excitement as Wong demonstrated, their compound eyes tracking the subtle quantum fluctuations that rippled through the ship's hull. But their excitement turned to confusion when alarms suddenly blared through the station. Unknown entity detected. The Alliance AI announced. Spatial anomaly forming at the edge of the system. In the diplomatic chamber, Ambassador Chen and Captain Rivera watched alongside Alliance leadership as the anomaly grew. It wasn't like anything they'd seen before. Not even the swarm's bioorganic technology could explain what they were witnessing. It's consuming space itself, Chief Scientist Zixra announced, their crystalline form pulsing with anxiety. The anomaly is breaking down the fundamental forces that hold reality together. The threat became clear as the anomaly began to spread, creating a cascade effect that threatened to tear apart the fabric of space-time throughout the system. Conventional weapons would be useless against something that existed partially outside normal space. This is why we developed quantum ghosting, Chen said quietly. We always knew there would be threats that couldn't be fought with traditional methods. Captain Rivera nodded. Ambassador, request permission to initiate Protocol Omega. The Alliance leaders turned to Chen. Protocol Omega, Chancellor Vexthor asked. Something we hoped we'd never need, Chen explained. A way to fight an enemy that doesn't fully exist in our reality. But we'll need the Alliance fleet's help. What followed was a demonstration of adaptation that would redefine what the galaxy thought possible. Earth's 5 ships began to transform, but differently than before. Their hulls didn't just shift, they seemed to evolve, developing new configurations in response to the reality warping effects of the anomaly. The adaptive edge, Rivera explained as he coordinated with Alliance commanders. Our ships don't just change shape, they change their fundamental nature. They learn, evolve, and become what they need to be. The Resilient led the response, its hull developing structures that looked more like organic crystalline growths than technology. These new appendages reached into the quantum foam of space itself, stabilizing regions that the anomaly had begun to unravel. The Ingenuity and Innovative paired up, their evolved forms generating fields that actually reversed the anomaly's effects, restoring normal spacetime through a process that Alliance scientists couldn't begin to understand. The Adaptable lived up to its name, its structure constantly shifting to counter each new variation in the anomaly's behavior. The Determined served as the anchor, its enhanced systems creating a stable pocket of reality from which the other ships could operate. Without it, they would have been torn apart by the same forces they were trying to contain. Your ships, Admiral Krastal observed in awe. They're not just adapting to the threat. They're adapting to the very concept of adaptation itself. Chen nodded. Human technology isn't about building something perfect. It's about building something that can become what it needs to be. Our ships evolve because we designed them to face the unknown. The Alliance fleet, guided by human insight, learned to synchronize their conventional weapons with the quantum effects generated by Earth's ships. What began as 5 vessels fighting an impossible enemy became a coordinated dance of hundreds of ships, each contributing in ways their designers had never imagined possible. When the anomaly finally collapsed in on itself, the system was saved. But the Earth ships didn't return to their original forms immediately. They retained aspects of their evolved states, having learned from the encounter. They're different now, Wang explained to the fascinated Alliance engineers. Each challenge they face changes them permanently. They grow, just like we do. The Alliance had thought they understood adaptation. Their own ships could be upgraded, modified, improved. But Earth's vessels demonstrated something else entirely. The ability to fundamentally reimagine themselves in response to new challenges. This is how humanity survived on Earth, Chen told the assembled Alliance Council. Not by being the strongest or the most numerous, but by being able to change, to think differently, to become what we needed to be. The 5 ships hung in space, their forms now a unique hybrid of their original design, and what they had become. They were living proof that the true measure of advancement wasn't in size or numbers, but in the ability to adapt and evolve. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity's role in it. Respect earned. 3 months after the anomaly incident, the Alliance's central hub hosted a ceremony unlike any in its long history. The massive chamber that had once echoed with laughter at Earth's tiny fleet was now filled with representatives from every member species, gathered to formally recognize humanity's contribution to galactic security. The 5 Earth ships held position outside the Crystal Dome, their evolved forms a testament to the battles they'd survived. No longer did they try to look conventional. Each vessel now proudly displayed the unique characteristics they had developed through adaptation and combat. High Chancellor Vexthor stood before the assembled delegates, their crystalline form radiating with formal colors of respect. We gathered here, not long ago, to evaluate Earth's application for Alliance membership. We saw 5 ships and thought we knew what that meant. We were wrong. Ambassador Chen stood with Captain Rivera and the other ship commanders. The neural interfaces they wore were now visible, a subtle reminder of how deeply humans were connected to their vessels. In 3 months, Vexthor continued, Earth's fleet has revolutionized our understanding of space combat, saved our central hub twice, and demonstrated technologies that we had considered theoretically impossible. But more importantly, they have taught us a crucial lesson about advancement. Admiral Krastel stepped forward, their armor modified with quantum field sensors, a direct result of collaboration with Earth's engineers. We measured strength in numbers, in the size of our fleets. Humanity showed us that true power lies in innovation, in the ability to adapt and evolve. The main display showed footage from recent joint operations. Alliance ships now moved with some of the same fluid grace as Earth's vessels, their conventional technology enhanced by human quantum engineering. What had started as 5 ships had transformed the combat capabilities of the entire Alliance. The swarm has retreated from Alliance space, Vexthor announced. Our analysts believe they encountered something they couldn't adapt to, an enemy that evolved faster than they could. But this ceremony isn't about celebrating victory. It's about acknowledging a fundamental change in how we approach the challenges of space. Chen stepped forward when called upon. Humanity didn't come to the stars to impress anyone with the size of our fleet, she said. We came because we believe that survival depends on collaboration, on combining different approaches and perspectives. Our 5 ships were never meant to stand alone. They were designed to show what's possible when we think beyond conventional limitations. The Resilient, now bearing crystalline structures that merged seamlessly with its quantum hull, led its sisters in a formation pass. The Ingenuity's multiple quantum states created a beautiful interference pattern. The Adaptable and Innovative demonstrated their synchronized evolution, their forms flowing like liquid metal. The Determine's enhanced form anchored them all, a living reminder of humanity's persistence. Earth's fleet will remain small, Chen continued. We don't need more ships. We need to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Each vessel will continue to evolve, to adapt, to become more than what it was. And we will continue to share what we learn, because that's the true purpose of the Alliance. The ceremony concluded with the unveiling of a new Alliance protocol. All member species would now maintain small, specialized fleets of evolution-capable ships alongside their conventional forces. Earth's engineers would help develop the technology, while Alliance resources would fund further research into quantum engineering. We laughed at Earth's tiny fleet, Admiral Krastal admitted to Chen after the ceremony. Now we understand why you smiled when we did. You knew something we didn't, that the future belongs not to the largest forces, but to those who can imagine new ways of facing it. As the 5 Earth ships prepared to depart for their first official Alliance patrol, their evolved forms caught the light of distant stars. They were no longer just vessels. They were living proof that humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to imagine, and to become more than anyone expected. The galaxy had learned to stop counting ships and start measuring potential. And humanity's potential, it seemed, was just beginning to be understood.